All right. Welcome to the Broski Doodles podcast. It's your boy Kiko Flo, Kiko Cervantes in the house with Adrian. He's already here. DJ BJ is already here. As you can see, their attire says a lot. We got another movie review with the crew with you guys here. And you know, they're just trying to get themed up for the occasion. We're gonna be reviewing The Batman. It's available now on HBO Max. And then, you know, let's get to it. It was a 3-hour long movie. If you're coming here after watching it, even better. I always recommend that. I think the best way to watch movie review with the crew is after watching the movie, and then you can hear us shedding on it. So I don't think it is a secret that this is not the best of the Batmans. I think it's well established that the trilogy by Christopher Nolan is the best one, right? Nevertheless, I will say there are some things that are savable. I did feel entertained for a lot of the movie. I did think it was too long. And I don't know if you guys agree with me on this one. It's not that it's too long, it's that there's not that much content to go through in those 3 hours. And it feels like they make everything longer than it should, you know? What do you guys think of The Bat before we get into the details?
You know, to be honest, I didn't feel like it was that long, but I saw the movie over a period of 3 days, an hour each day. So like I jumped back into the story and then it was like a quick, so I don't know if that really counts. And because I watched it more as a show than as a movie in that sense. But yeah, in its entirety, I think they could have sped up a lot of the riddles that Batman had to solve instead of dragging it on. And I guess they did that just for dramatization purposes and just to show how kooky he is.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the depiction of Batman? Do you guys like Robert Pattinson?
He definitely didn't do a bad job. I expected because of the fact that he was the guy from the Twilight series. It was going to be kind of weird. But it's definitely an apprentice Batman, like a Batman in training, if you want to call it, because he doesn't really have everything worked out as much as we're not used to seeing most Batmans do. For most of the riddles, he didn't even solve himself. I'm like, yo, like you're supposed to be like this master detective sleuth guy, and you're getting caught up on these small ass riddles, and you're like, it definitely shows you that he's still kind of young, you know.
Yeah, that he's still sort of in the process of becoming the Batman that we normally know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll be fair with the fact that it's not easy to make a movie again so many times and make it seem different, you know? Maybe the answer is just stop making the fucking movies at this stage. But, I mean, I think they had a different take on it. Sort of like Joaquin Phoenix on the Joker. You could see like, okay, this is not Heath Ledger, but I can appreciate where they took it and it had its thing. I actually enjoyed the Joker. This one, it's not that I didn't enjoy it. I think it was entertaining as like a normal superhero movie, but it didn't hit me on the feels like the Dark Knight did, you know. And the Dark Knight is a lot more cartoony, I believe, but it hit better. It had a better story. This one seemed like the beginning of something, and I get it. The original trilogy, well, we call the original, but it's not the original Batman's, but the classic trilogy, right? You still have the first one, which is the beginning, and it leaves you in a way where there's still something to come. But I don't remember it being this long. This felt too long to me. It was very much like that movie Seven with Brad Pitt.
What's it about?
it had that feeling of. But I mean, that's Gotham City, yeah, right. So I can't really shit on that. But it was very gloomy. A lot of it is him talking to himself, sort of narrating the movie.
Yeah, they wanted to go
One
with
thing
a more erratic and weird Batman that is in his head a lot, that is still trying to figure things out. Reclusive Batman. And I think they did a pretty good job with it. Different take. I appreciated it.
I don't know the back.
Toys. Go get some toys.
John,
I don't know which one.
I definitely.
you have it fresh, right? What do you think?
It's over. I really like the movie overall. There is some holes that I need to discuss that I'm like, really like that whole scene where the guy gets his head blown off because of the riddle, because he didn't want to say who was the informant
In the church?
in the church, and then he blows up, and then the police come in, and they get Batman and they put him into jail, so he's caught, right? And everybody's like against him because he's like a vigilante, whatever. Even though like he's trying to do good, but they don't see that. They just see him as being above the law. They have him in jail. Commissioner Gordon is like, look, we need to get you out. Like, I trust you. I don't trust anybody else in here. So like, punch me and make it look believable. Right? He punches him, beats the shit out of him. He runs out. They're trying to go after him. They have an APB on him. They're trying to look for him, all this and all that. And then fast forward to like a scene where they find another riddle, and he's just walking in there chilling like if that's the Batman. That's the guy I just punched this guy in the face, and everybody's like, yeah, I mean, like, just don't touch that. Don't put any fingerprints on that because you might whatever. But that's okay. You can look at that. Whatever. Like, okay,
That's a good point.
This guy is supposed to be in jail right now. Like the moment any cop sees him, he's supposed to be detained. Like, but no, he's
on site. Supposed to be on site. But they're like, no, well, just another day working with the Batman. He escaped again. Oh, darn it.
Darn it. The next day, he's like, all right, Batman, let's just forget about last night, okay?
Crazy night, right? No, I like the fact that like they respect him, but they don't really. And they're like, you're so weird, dude. You're in a Batcave. Like, what's wrong with you? You're in a costume? Halloween's your favorite day of the year, right, freak? Like,
you're right.
It makes sense. It is more realistic in that sense. Like, who the hell is dressed up as a bat and walking around among the cops and shit, and among bad guys too? Everyone's like, look at this fucking guy's get up.
And then he gets killed. the guy that's like making fun of him, the selling him freak and shit, Maroni.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day he's dead. Remember the rat trap? That was
is that Maroni? No, that's Falcone.
No. Maroni
or Falcone
is the like would be he's like the commissioner, I guess, the head of police.
Oh, okay.
And the one that
there's another one called Marconi.
Falcone.
No, they use these names are all. No, there's another one. They talked about some other criminal, Marconi, and you're like, yo, what's going on here? Hey, we got Marconi and Falcone.
Marconi Fallonis.
Let me give me a pizza.
So it's
a bunch of baloney.
Falcone, which is played by the Tortoro guy, the guy from the
Torturo.
Mr. Deeds.
Mr. Deeds.
Mr. Deeds.
Mr. Deeds.
I was gonna say Transformers.
That's it.
Well,
he's Falcone.
The classic is Mr. Deeds.
And
he's Falcone, but there's a Marconi too.
You can't. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy him as Falcone. Just because of the fact that I already feel him typecasted as a comedic character.
Goofy fuck.
Mr. Deeds. Yeah, dude. And then it didn't really make sense. What does it have to do with like he's the father of the Catwoman because he fucked some whore back in the day? Like they never really developed that. It was just like a little thing they throw at you, like, oh, by the way, I'm your father. But then at the end they sort of have like a reconciliation, but not really. It's weird. It's not. And then why I don't want to sound. There are some things that I notice of it that they also talk about in the movie podcast Ranan with Joe List, which are some comedians that we listen to. They have a really good movie podcast, and I try to watch their podcast after I do my reviews if there's a movie that they already did, just so that I don't get influenced. But there are some things here that they talked about that I agree with. The fact that Penguin guy he's there but not really, and does it lead to the movie saying that he's gonna be the next villain?
I mean, towards the end when they do that whole zoom out of like, you know, the city's in shambles, but somebody always takes the opportunity and you know, capitalizes on that, like the whole thing where he's at, and then it's zooming out on Penguin's face. So Penguin kind of took the opportunity of Falcone. Is it confirmed that Falcone died? Right? Falcone's dead.
Yeah, he got shot.
Quote unquote.
And then who kills him? Is it
the Riddler?
Right.
The Riddler kills him.
Okay.
So Falcone's dead. So now there's a power vacuum, and that has to be filled in by all these other villains, you know?
Yeah, it kind of opens up the whole franchise up. Is it like, right?
What?
But it does it in a way where I don't find it too organic.
I think Colin Farrell's getting his own spin-off as the Penguin.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, the
and-
whole movie sort of leads you to believe that. But then there's
I give
also
it to-
other two villains in the jail.
Give it to Colin Farrell for being a pretty good actor, where you can't tell that it's Colin Farrell. It's actually you feel like it's the Penguin, you know. Kind of like the same thing with Jared Leto and then Paulo.
Paulo.
Yeah, Colin
Or
Farrell.
even Heath Ledger. Even Heath
He did
Ledger.
great in that one. I thought the movie was good. Not as great as Dark Knight, obviously, but it had its own unique take on Batman, and I appreciated it. I liked the fact that it was like that Seven Saw type of aspect to it. I think
Yeah, I
not
mean,
using the Joker was good. They went on the Riddler, and because the only Riddler that we have was Jim Carrey's, and it was like some goofy fuck. And this one, it actually it was good. and made him a big villain.
one thing that I heard on another podcast. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, that I heard on another podcast is that it is true, like a criticism that I found relevant is that why do they have to put the mafia in if they already have a villain, you know? Like, you can make it just about the villain, right? That's killing people. And that's it. Like, that's enough of a movie. They have to put in like this whole complicated thing. And I think they try to tell too many stories in one. Where you have Falcone, Marconi, Aloni, Tony Baloney. And then you have the Riddler too. You have the Penguin, which the Penguin is kind of like halfway in. He's a villain, but he's also a mafia guy.
Well,
I don't know, like the mafia is...
Yeah. I don't read the comic
Maybe
books,
I was
so I
wrong
don't know
about
how close it is to the comics. But maybe there's something to that, and that's why they had to follow this story arc. And the whole thing with the Riddler was that he was just trying to show everyone the corruption of the city and how the mobs and the police are kind of like in together. So it does have a realistic aspect to it, which I appreciate. And that's why I like Batman over every other superhero because of that. It doesn't put you in another galaxy, another dimension. It's actually like something that's somewhat real.
Yeah, that's true. Because even Iron Man, you kind of are in disbelief. Well, I mean, and then he joins in with other Marvel guys, right? But like Iron Man, which is the only other one that could kind of make you feel relatable, is still a little bit unrelatable because he has like technology that doesn't exist. With Batman, everything that he uses is sort of things that exist. So I do agree with you on that. I think if it wasn't because there's so many Batman movies already, I would like this movie more. Because it isn't bad, but it's like the whole thing, like, you see, the city's corrupted, and I'm gonna show everyone, like, it's already been told many times, but I don't know.
It wasn't very clear to me in the beginning what time place did this take in, because at first it kind of looked almost like steampunk in the beginning, and it started looking like old English 1800s or something. But then as time goes by, you start seeing that more modern and more modern stuff. I don't know. Did this take place in like current time, quote unquote, or like I don't know.
Well, apparently, for some reason, it was I think one of the newspapers. I don't remember where it was on the movie, but his parents are killed in 2001 in the movie, which also brings all types of discussion about where that would put his, like they say that if that's true, then they probably got killed going to watch the release of Shrek in 2001, which does change a lot the way that we think about the movie, right?
That we see the world, right?
Do you see? No, I agree. Like it was a bit of vague, where it was a little bit steampunky, very very much. And then at the end, my issue with the end, let me get to it now, is that there's this part where he's about to fall in the stadium that they're in, the arena, and then he falls and you think like that's gonna, and then he just lands in the water and it's like, oh, like it made you feel these climatic moments that didn't really climax into anything. And then when he's supposed to save the people, he's just sort of leading the way, like with a lantern, like, hey, here, walk here. Like, it didn't seem like he's really doing much.
Like he's gonna sacrifice.
He gets shot a lot
scene. I thought he was gonna cut that off and like just like get electrocuted.
Oh no!
But
something like that. And then at the end, it's just like, no, the message of the movie is that I'm just like a normal person that I can just help you cross the street. No, motherfucker, you Batman.
I'm a symbol
You're
for
supposed
hope,
to be like,
not vengeance. My work here is not done, Catwoman. And the whole Catwoman thing, when she has like cats, she's like, you got a lot of cats. You like animals or something? Who the fuck are you, Judge? You live in a cave with bats.
My favorite line was when him and Commissioner Gordon are like going into like a building. I think the Riddler's apartment or something, and then Batman goes, no guns. And then the guy is like, that's your thing. That's not my thing. Like, I'm a cop. I don't know about you, bro.
it's like, I can't do my job if I have to follow some code of morality that you fucking made up in your mind, which makes no sense, right? Like I mean, and I guess this is not a bash to Batman only, but in general, just superhero movies. Like, well, I mean, Batman specifically, because he has this thing where like, oh, no guns. It's like, you couldn't be a hero without like killing people, right? Like you would need at one point and then, like kill a bad guy, right?
That's another thing. He like, that's another code of conduct that he has. Batman doesn't kill, but he messes you the fuck up to the point where you're better off dead. Like he breaks your like he breaks your heart, he breaks your collarbone, he breaks your leg, but I don't kill.
There's limits. I'll leave you paralyzed.
I will leave you connected to a machine.
I'll pay for your surgery, but you're gonna make it through this.
You can kill yourself. That's on you. It won't be on me. I don't get it. And like, at least Christian Bale was tracked, and he was like, you saw him go through the training of like I forgot what it was called, like the Shaolin monks. What is it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. And this guy just like seemed like a skinny.
Yeah. When he goes to the mountain.
Yeah, like I don't know how Robert Pattinson like could fight all these guys, just like a skinny dude. It's like you're gonna fight everybody with your karate skills, even though they have guns. Come on, guy.
Yeah, and then he like gets shot with a shotgun in the face.
Oh yeah,
and then nothing happens to him.
That suit is nasty.
Like
they need to explain that a little more.
Yo, shotgun to the face, nothing. What was that, bro?
I have a headache.
that was intense.
And dude,
like,
isn't it funny how the beginning of the movie, remember when he like saves some guy from getting beat up by like some gang, but the gang is a bunch of kids like with their face painted. I'm like, in what like bad part of of the neighborhood, right? You go into it, and the people that are gonna assault you are some guys with like Halloween costumes, like, hello man, we're the the white face mask or gang, whatever. I mean, I guess that is part of the world that they're in, right? Like but it's funny how like the gangsters, right? The street thugs are these people that like wake up in the morning and it's like, all right, guys, did everybody paint your faces? Everybody has the painting. All right, let's go rob some people. Like,
Is that an allusion to the Joker? Like, I think those are the Joker boys, probably. Like that particular group.
Well, at the end of the movie, that guy is Joker, right? The one that's next to him in the cell?
It's implied.
yeah.
Okay.
It's implied. And can like one thing that really I was like, yo, like don't even do it anymore. Like the Riddlers like laugh or no, the Riddlers cry. He's like like what the? That's how you cry. Like he's like a moaning whale or some shit. Like yo, what the?
That actor's weird, and he gets typecasted for these type of roles. I don't know if you guys seen that movie Prisoners with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal.
No,
I'm pretty sure it's Prisoners, where he takes Hugh Jackman's kid, and he's like some crazy pedophile. And he plays that same type of role, and Hugh Jackman beats the living shit out of him the whole movie. Like he kidnaps him, he puts him in a room and just tortures him.
All right,
because he's sure that it's that guy. Well, anyway, he plays that same weird type of character.
Now we need to see
that they picked him.
Yeah, he does have that feel.
Let's see that movie next. Maybe he should have been typecasted for Sheldon as Sammy.
Could have, yeah, would have killed it.
Yeah,
but
yeah, he would have been scarier.
They don't have the budget for that.
Sammy from Shut-In. Do you guys think? I mean, again, we say that it wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't entertaining, but and you could say like, oh, like the way that they showed Gotham City and a new Batman is always interesting, but hasn't it come to a point where like, dude, let's just create new characters, new stories, new comics? Like, why do we have to keep using the same ones that, rest in peace. What's that guy's name?
Stan Lee.
Maybe he didn't even write DC. Maybe Stan Lee. I don't even know if Stan Lee did DC because Batman is DC. So maybe he didn't do. But but he's the father, right? Of like comic book. Like we don't have to keep using the same stories. We could create new ones.
And they're actually constantly creating new ones and new iterations of Justice League, new people, new groups. There's always new things that are coming around. But the question is it as marketable as the original 7? The original like Wonder Woman, The Flash, Aquaman, Green Lantern, Superman, that so on and so forth, versus coming up with these new characters. Yeah, they could be better. It could be better movies, but will people recognize them and then know and actually have like a deeper connection to them, or it'll put more distance away from the whole superhero franchise?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's like The Rock's movie. He's coming out with Black Adam. Mm-hmm. I never knew who that was coming up. But since it is The Rock, we'll see how much traction it gets.
Would
you guys think? I don't know if
Rock?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really watch that many superhero movies. I like Batman. I like Spider-Man. I like X-Men. I don't like the other 9,000 movies. I haven't kept up with them.
Yeah, the Marvel ones lost me a long time ago. You touched on something important, Adrian, about X-Men. Do you think that, because like part of it could be that we're getting older, and we think now superhero movies are stupid? That could be it. But for some reason, when I saw the original X-Men and the original Spider-Man, those movies hit in a different level to me. And I don't know if it was because I was younger or because they were just generally better movies. And we could, do like a classic X-Men review, eventually. Because I think it would be interesting to see if those movies hold up and we find them to be good now. Because when I remember the original X-Men, I remember those movies with like, oh my God, they were amazing. And it could be that the dialogue in them was good. Like that the story was good. Like it could be that I was just a kid, and those movies seem. But I think it's the first thing. I think it's just that they were better movies. and now they have a more fireworks, they have more graphics, they have more explosions. All those effects are much better, but I feel like the stories are not as good. They're weak on the stories.
Well, it could be that we're just getting used to seeing them release every week. Someone else take over after that point.
Yeah. For those of you who listen to the podcast and don't see it, Adrian is currently being attacked by a rogue shark.
A rogue shark that's being handled by his kid.
Yeah, wielded by my 4-year-old. So yeah, I think it's because there's so many of those movies coming out that you kind of just like get, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it becomes like watered down and you're just like, oh, another one. Okay, cool. Because I think when the first Spider-Man came out and the first X-Men came out, it was like the first one of it ever.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, there were other superheroes before, but they were kind of whack. Like the Batmans of the 60s or whatever the fuck that was. It had nothing to do with like when X-Men and Spider-Man came out in the 2000s. It was very new, like, oh shit.
And had great actors.
Would it be like a complacency or like a tolerance? Like we built up a tolerance for no,
but I think there's also a complaint. There's definitely a tolerance that we've gotten and we're tired of them. But there's also a complacency on the side of the production because, bro, the stories are not as good, man. And the acting, it's like they get the hottest people to act, but they're not the best actors. Like back in the day when you had Hugh Jackman for the Wolverine, who was Storm, that
Halle Berry
actors. Halle Berry.
I think what's happening a lot too is that since there's so many movies, a lot of the storylines are kind of getting screwed up, and then they make up this other like
alternative
time
universe.
travel, and they like reset everything, and they like make it very confusing. And unless you've seen all of them, you don't really know what's going on. John can speak more on this since I haven't seen a lot of the movies, but mostly all of the franchises have this like thing where they go in the past. I know X-Men's done it, Spider-Man's done it.
Marvel's done it. I don't think DC's done it yet, but they do allude a lot to past events and how it reshaped the future. I'm pretty sure that the Flash will at some point in time revisit, different timelines because he has the ability to do so. That actually starts.
Well, when I see
war,
when I recently saw the latest Spider-Man, which I guess we're gonna talk about it too at some point. Mm-hmm. But like, yes, it was amazing, like graphically and stuff. But the story was like, yeah, so some, my wish is nobody knew I was Spider-Man, but then I messed up on the wish, and the guy that's like super good, Doctor Strange or whatever, he messes up, and then that's the whole movie, and now all the Spider-Man, like I get it's a good trick so that you can show all the Spider-Man from the other movies. But it was such a weak argument, like, oh, I fucked up on this, so all the universes got mixed. It's like you got to the point where you are so inconsistent with the stories that now you're like, oh, by the way, anything goes now.
Anything goes.
It's like, okay.
And let's not get into the whole Spider-Man thing, but basically, and then he did all that just to try to get accepted to Harvard or something like that.
Right, like I couldn't get into college, man. I messed up. God damn it. Now I need to make this portal so that we don't all explode. Like, bro, chill out. That's strange.
Yeah, and also very selfish from Spider-Man.
From Spider-Man,
like, you got the girl, you got the friends, you got the power, you got everything. It's like, no, but I wanted to go to Harvard.
No, sorry, MIT.
To do what?
You're doing Uncharted
fighting crime
with
anyway.
Yeah, and you're doing the movie Uncharted with Matt Damon, or Mark Wahlberg. So
he wanted to be a nationally accredited engineer.
Yeah, whatever. Sometimes you can't get what you want.
He has superpowers, and he wants to be an engineer. I want to be an accountant.
Look, Peter,
but I can teleport.
Look, Peter Parker. look, Piri Pablo, you got superpowers.
Piri Pablo.
You got the girl, right? The girl. You got the looks. You got everything. And it's like, sorry, you don't get to go to Harvard. And you don't get to have everyone forget who you are or whatever the
I
thing
want
is.
my degree.
Me. You could probably you probably already know more than you need to be an engineer. So what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
Yeah.
Like,
you know what's
so-
interesting that you could do now? He realizes, you know what? I got all this power. I couldn't go to Harvard. Fuck it, dude. Now I'm gonna like do crime to make money. And then that becomes like a new thing. At least they'll fucking spice it up. Make Spider-Man bad.
And make him
He
become
changes. Zendaya leaves him. Yeah, make him become Venom. And he doesn't go back. There's no happy ending. He ends up being a piece of shit. And from now on, that's it. There's no Spidey Peter Parker. No, he kills his Aunt May. Fuck her.
There's never a happy ending for Peter Parker and all the iterations that he exists.
And I mean, I can't complain. Like Deadpool was kind of that, like the anti-hero type shit, where he does kill people. He is a piece of shit in some sense. He does have bad jokes. Like, so I can't complain. There are movies that do it, but
So,
I don't know. I don't know when was the last time that one of these movies felt real, like where I could relate to the person. But maybe that's not the goal of every movie.
Well, I think
you know,
Batman.
like with
Batman
Batman,
does a
maybe
good
it's
way of doing it.
so in Batman, you're
this one.
Theoretically, you're Batman now, and Catwoman's like, "Yo, let's just go. Let's leave the town." Do you go or you stay?
I definitely go. What the hell? Like, no, I gotta stay here depressed and look at the towering city and the crime. Like, bro, go get your shit. Do your thing. You feel me? Fill the bat cave, whatever. Let the bat out, whatever, you know.
Let the bat out.
Oh, another thing we haven't even spoke about. The complete non-relationship between him and Alfred. It's like
Bro.
completely like that's what Batman is. A lot of Batman is the dialogue between him and Alfred. And Alfred always, I will say the best Alfred is that British guy that I love.
Michael Caine, what's his name?
The classic Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
There's Michael Caine. I'm Michael Caine.
What's the point of all those push-ups if you can't push a stupid log off your chest? Yeah, this one doesn't give him any like guidance. He just like, your daddy was a good man. Don't ever insult him again, you fucking piece of shit. All right.
Yeah, and I never picture Alfred to be like this angry Irishman that will fuck you up in a pub. You know?
And did Alfred?
I'm Alfred. I'll fuck you up.
I've gone to war with your father.
Did Alfred teach him how to be Batman? Is that what they're going with?
Like, oh yeah, I taught you how to fight. That's all I could do. Couldn't do much. You needed a father. I wasn't there for you.
You needed a father, but I was a sailor. I did what I could. I made you a man.
That was hilarious. Oh man.
I made you a man. I couldn't do much. You see, my family left me when I left the island. Yeah, bro.
Ya.
Marconi,
Fed you all the
Falcone.
years. I drive you around. Teach you how to fight a little bit. That's all I can do.
Oh man.
He still turned out to be a little pussy. Fucking always depressed, mate.
There's nothing I can do about that weak head of yours.
John.
The little man game.
Oh man. That's nice.
There's only so much I can do to make you a man. You little bitch. Okay, so any other thoughts on this? Any other scenes? Any notes or that you had, John, or anything that you can remember that worth bringing out?
Just Falcone's gone. Penguin takes over. The Joker is in there. Were there weren't any other villains that were noticeable that I saw.
No, the Penguin, the Riddler. The Riddler has like this fucking made up mask. He just puts tape on. Fuck it.
Yeah, it was like duct tape.
Very handmade. Like Very Seven. It was very Seven.
Yeah. Well, I like
Oh,
Batman
by the
villains
way,
overall. They're very intellectual, always a couple steps ahead, and they always make like this like cat and mouse game.
yeah, it's a lot more crime like geared in comparison to other superhero movies where like the superhero doesn't have this advanced view of things. He's just like, I'm crazy, I'm killing things. But on this one, it's true that did you guys find funny? Fuck, what was this thing? Oh yeah, the whole thing about the rat. The la rata lana la lana. Oh, it's Falcone because the Falcone is a rat, flying rat. It's like, bro, that was the stupidest fucking like riddle. Like that one had no sense.
He's talking about the penguin, or is he talking about a bat? Oh no, wait, a falcon.
Or
A falcon.
it's a rat in the air. God damn it, fuck.
El rata lara.
Not L, it's La. La rata.
And the whole time I'm like, bro, that doesn't mean a rat with wings. A rat only does Spanish class.
No, you are El Ratalada. Like, is it you, Batman? URL.
Website. Riddler.com. Yeah, some of they need a better job on that.
No, it's a rata helada. It's frozen. It's Mexican. It's Mexican yogurt.
That's rata helada.
It's Mexican yogurt. Dude, it felt like the South Park episode about Mexican Joker. He's like, no, there's Mexican Joker. Get him.
Rata
La
helada.
muerte peluda.
Ay, Dios mío.
Yeah, dude. Some of the riddles I didn't understand how Batman got. Like, how did he know to open up the floorboard with that thing to find the map of the city?
Yeah. It was things that are literally so random that couldn't have been. Okay, is it fair to say that they had a good movie here, but they didn't make it fully? They could have made it better. Cut the fat, make it tighter.
Yeah, they could have. I thought it was a good movie. Could have been better, yeah. But for an intro movie into like a trilogy, I thought it was good. I think Colin Farrell will steal the show in the second one.
Did you like the
I mean, I will
twins?
watch the second one.
They're like, what?
The twins. There's just the stupidity behind the twins, like the bodyguards
the
that are like
bouncers,
and he went into that club as Batman. He should have just gone in as Bruce Wayne. Like if he wanted to get that information from Falcone or from whatever, in reference to the Riddler.
I mean, the first time he went.
Yeah. Like why not go as Bruce Wayne and do recon and then show up as Batman?
Isn't it fucked? And this is something that they say in this podcast I heard. So I want to give credit where it's due, but it is true that when he meets Falcone, and Falcone's like, yo, kid, your daddy came to me, he came to the mafia for the help. And so that's what happened, kid, And then he's like, okay. And then in the next scene, he's with Alfred. He's like, kid, your dad didn't go to him. He didn't want to. It's like, it takes too quick for them to change the story back and forth. Like, where he's like, no, yeah, kid, your dad came to me. He was corrupt too. And then the next scene right after is with Alfred in bed, where Alfred's telling him,
really fast.
No, that's not what
he doesn't even question it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, really? Oh, fuck, I got bamboozled.
like his whole motto is like, I don't trust anyone. Oh, wait, the biggest crime lord of the city just told me that my dad is corrupt. Why? Why, Dad? Why would you do this to me?
My life's a lie.
And then
they tell him different right away. He's like, oh, fuck.
No, my dad's the best.
Okay, I guess that's a reality now. Okay, good.
Like, Alfred, how could you do this to me? Swear to me.
Didn't do anything to you. You didn't?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Then.
No.
What score would you give it?
7. I liked it. I thought it was a good take on Batman. I liked the bad guy. I thought it was a good like detective type of flick. I like it. I'll watch the next one. Nah, it's no Dark Knight. Dark Knight's like a 9.5. Well, this one's solid. Maybe I'm here just trying to justify my score.
We can take a look at A Dark Knight. We can review it because it's always gonna feel cartoony. But to me, this Batman felt too cartoony. Like the lines were too much like, no, I gotta save the city. And then the ending, nothing climatic really happened. He gets a shotgun to the face. That's not consistent with the damage that he can get. And then at the end, he doesn't even do something important to save the thing. Like the thing still got flooded. He just helped people walk out of the flood. It was like, that's what Batman does. Like, so to me, I'll give it a 6 because of the visuals, the darkness of it. Like that's always enjoyable. Mm-hmm. But it didn't. I wasn't invested in the film. I think Catwoman, maybe she was going to get a spin-off on her. I think it felt a lot like this is the base for now doing Batman Marvel style, where it's like we're going to do 13 movies on this bitch.
Everyone gets their own
different
show.
Universe colliding. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And because it's HBO, we can expect series coming from these movies. Now the series and the movies might intertwine. So yeah, I give it a 6. Adrian, you give it a 7. What do you give it, BJ?
Well, let's see. I did enjoy it. We can't constantly, like, this is always going to happen with Batman per se, because we got such a good product from the Dark Knight. And we always tend to compare any and every other Batman movie to the Dark Knight. Just like we're always going to compare any person that comes as Wolverine, we're always going to compare him to Hugh Jackman. Anybody that comes and tries to be the new Iron Man, we're going to compare him to Robert Downey Jr. So you always have this whole fallacy of comparing this new iteration of Batman to one of the best originals, and it's never gonna keep up. It's never gonna be able to match.
What's your score, John?
I'd give it a 7. I really did like it. His back car was basically like a souped up Challenger with like a rocket or something. It wasn't even like a back car per se.
And he had a normal ass motorcycle that he was still owing payments on.
Well, I like that it already assumed that you knew that he was who he is. He didn't have to like go into his gear, go into his cave, and do all that stuff that they did in the other trilogy. I think it'd be more accurate to compare this one to Batman Begins than the Dark Knight.
Basically. Mm-hmm. And once again, it is
that
him
is true.
In his earlier stages. So maybe he doesn't have access to that technology yet, but the gear or whatever, even though it should take place way later than the previous ones. But
true.
Who knows?
Well, much better than the fucking Ben Affleck one. Well, I don't like him in general, but yeah, it wasn't bad. I'll watch this. The next one's to come.
He didn't have a standalone.
No, he came in at Batman vs Superman, and then he went into the Justice League. He got hooked up.
And then Suicide Squad, I think, the first one.
He was at the end.
Wasn't he fighting the Joker on his car or something like that?
Oh, I don't know.
In the first
Suicide Squad?
Yeah, the first one. That's about it. You don't really see him on his own.
Which sucked.
Basically.
All right, so with those scores, it's like a 6.67 type shit.
6.6 repeating. 6.6666666.
Right. Repeating. So for those out there that want to make sure that the numbers are right, let us know what you think of the movie. I hope that these reviews aren't too long for you, but sometimes we are. I feel like I hope people find them enjoying and not slow at all, but sometimes I feel like we go off the topic and we'll come back to it. But it also has to do with the movie. If the movie is very interesting, we're gonna be like super into it. With this one, I think there's not that much to come out. It's like a story that we've seen already. That's why I feel like, but it's always good to see the new visuals with the new graphic effects and the technology. So that's cool. And yeah, so this is Batman with a little bit of depression. He needs to go to a psychologist maybe in the next movies. Thank you, Broski Doodles, for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.